So what did I do? I did... Sabas PROM King. If you haven't heard this song before, what I want you to do is pause this video, go and listen to it. It is a little bit long. It's about 7 minutes or something, I think, by memory. Sorry if I'm moving your laptop there, mate. But it is definitely worth the listen. It is amazing.
I'm gonna sit back and relax.
And then, after you listen to it, jump back here and hit unpause. I think it's got to be one of Saba's best tracks. And to me, it perfectly encapsulates what hip-hop is. It's got amazing storytelling. Saba's emphasis helps him tell the story to a much higher degree. And the production is perfect. Like, you don't notice it.
Yep.
It fits perfectly in place. It doesn't stick out. It doesn't draw attention away from the story. It's just giving it the perfect platform to be told. And when you purposely pay attention to it as well, you notice a lot of little things that just help with the storytelling, like help with Saba's emphasis, which I will get into later. And I think the way that he describes the thought process of a high schooler, it gives a lot of nostalgia, or it does to me anyway.
Yeah.
Like back then he cared a lot more about what people thought of him. And you sort of think back like, when I used to go up and sharpen my pencil, I'd like put it off because I didn't want people looking at me.
Right.
Whereas when anyone else went up, you don't really fucking care. They're just sharpening their pencil.
Yep.
But you just care a lot more about what people think of you. He said if he was a virgin at 16, he's late, which I think that's a much bigger thing in America than it is here in Australia. I didn't really experience that, but and like not really knowing much about girls, thinking that going overboard, writing a 3-page letter for promposal is a good idea. And at the end of the first half, he's at a party, and he doesn't know anyone there. And when his cousin walks away, he says, "I fake like I'm sending a text." Rather than just like, I pulled out my phone, there's a little element, like a nice little sort of subtle element of like needing to appear popular. Like rather than I'm just scrolling on Facebook, I'm talking to someone here.
Yeah.
I think that was like really well done. Like I think for the majority of artists, if they were going to write that sort of scene and create that, they wouldn't really think about like the mindset of the teenager. And the fact that he's gone to that level of detail really is incredible. And I especially like the line, gave her the croissant or corsage or whatever the fuck. Because I didn't know what it was called when I was doing it either. I'm sure most of the teenage guys don't.
And it adds like a layer of authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think that even in movies, like when people stuff up lines, even though it's on purpose, it adds like another human element.
Yeah, I think so.
Like when someone in a movie's like or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like movies, you always just see as like seamless, like nothing ever goes wrong. Everyone speaks perfectly, but in real life it happens, and in real life you get confused with these things or stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I like that. So rather than just sort of like cutting away that, just saying gave her the corsage, like it does make it seem a lot more real. Yeah, like you said, authenticity. That I think that hits it perfectly. And I really like the hints of contrast throughout the first half as well, like between the life he lives and the life his cousin lives. Every day here on the bus, I get a ride. I thought that was just really beautiful. And at the end of the first half, when Jada's brother threatens Saba, the piano goes down in pitch. I do want to play this, but it's very subtle and you don't notice it unless you're listening for it. But it gives it a much darker vibe. And I just straight up did not listen to it. I didn't hear it the first couple of times I listened to it.
Really close. I sweated out his breath, then he put a knife to my neck. Gave me the rundown like Jada, my sister.
But that was so smooth and just made it way better. But you don't notice it because it's piano.
Subtle.
Yeah. And then when the brother, I'll play this bit as well, but when the brother says, "And if you hit her, fuck her, make her, miss ya, I'ma kill ya," the production goes all choppy like that as well. And considering it's been piano up until this point, it does give you a very uneasy feeling. And it's got like the echo of his voice as well. And I think it does a really good job of making the listener feel how Saba was feeling at the time. Like having a knife to your neck like that, would make you feel very uneasy. And then onto the second half, King. It shows a little bit of background of them getting more and more well known. Walt got into a prestigious college thanks to a scholarship in basketball, but he ended up getting into an argument with the coach, getting himself kicked out. And then I like this bit as well. When he says that they're doing open mic nights to sort of start out, get their name out there, they would sign up night after night, but they just wouldn't get called up. So Walt had to go up to the host and say, "You're calling out this name next."
Yeah.
And it's a very good way of like subtly saying he's intimidating and he knows it.
Yeah.
Like it didn't stray away from the story to say, "Oh, he's intimidating." Like Saba didn't have to say that. Like he's got an intimidating figure. He was just telling the story and, you know, develops this character through the storytelling, which I thought was just brilliant. And then into verse 2, when they start to gain more and more of a following, he mentions they play at Lollapalooza, they sold out Lincoln Hall, they go on Sway in the Morning, which I think is a big sort of achievement for any up-and-coming rapper.
Yeah.
But at the start of the second verse, he details a phone call that he received from Walt, where Walt tells him he was just shot at while innocently driving. And they just end up putting it down to a case of mistaken identity, just foreshadowing the end of the song. Sabas says he was at a recording session and got a call from Walt's mum, like a number that he didn't have saved, saying that he's been missing for a while. So Saba jumps in his car to look for him, admitting he has no idea where to even start looking.
Yeah.
And while Saba is telling you the story, he's rapping faster and faster, his words hitting harder and harder with more and more enthusiasm in each syllable. And in the background, the drums are just going mental. And it really does make you feel uneasy. Like, it raises your heartbeat. Like, both the beat and Saba are working together just to, really sort of amp you up and make you, invest in nothing else but, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then the outro is just chilling. Like, I'll play the second verse first.
Joke on the phone, this time he over serious. My heart dropping, I'm like, yo, what is it?
So that's just after he got the phone call from Walt.
Yeah.
And Walt sort of, rather than being joking, is go, "Oh, bro, like, this just happened."
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, now he's being serious. And the drums are just beating very fast, kind of like a heartbeat. And then, the outro, where Walt is just singing "Just Another Day in the Ghetto. I just hope I make it till tomorrow." It's, an absolutely chilling track, and you feel different after hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many songs that can do that. Like, you know how you watch a really good movie, like Inception, I guess, gave me that feeling. After watching it, you feel different.
Yeah,
and this,
I get that.
Yeah, this 7-minute song did it, which I think is just incredible. So, if at the start you didn't end up listening to the song, I hope I can change your opinion, and you want to go and listen to it.
And if you want to know more about that whole story and things like that, definitely go ahead and check the whole album, Care For Me. Saba talks about his regret that he lives with by not being with him that day, and other things like that on other tracks. So definitely an album to check out, but definitely start with that song because it's a great introduction.
Alright, well, that is my song dissection. Be sure to tune in tonight for a little bit more of a light-hearted segment. What does insert rapper spend his money on?
Alright.
We'll see you then.